Hey guys, Michael from Fire and Brilliance, and today we'll be talking about a subject that we've gone over before, but the last time I was limited to only 2 minutes. So this time I'm going to go into a lot more detail per your request, okay? So it's going to be comparing two stones. It's going to be comparing the Forever One Moissanite Hearts and Arrows versus the Forever One Moissanite Brilliant Cut, and I'm going to get right into it for you. Alright guys, so again today we'll be comparing two stones. The first stone being the Hearts and Arrows Moissanite Forever One by Charles and Kovar. I'll go ahead and show that to you there. Okay, so and the second stone will be the Forever One Brilliant Cut Moissanite by Charles and Kovar. Both of these stones are the colorless version and not the near-colorless version. Okay, so which basically means it's a D, E, or F color. So I'm gonna basically measure the diameter of the stone as well as the total height or the depth of the stone, and I'll compare the crowns of the two stones, and then I'll show you a really neat little scope called the Euroscope, where you can basically see the hearts and arrows on a hearts and arrows cut gemstone. I will also show what these two stones look like in different lighting environments. With that said, let's get right into it here. So the first stone here is the hearts and arrows. All right, so the main difference, I'm not sure if you're able to see with the camera prior to showing you what it looks like under the Euroscope, is the fact that hearts and arrows are precisely cut, right? So it has to be cut with a lot of precision. In terms of even if it's hand cut, machine cut, or whatnot, it has to be cut at specific angles, different types of the specific crown angles, pavilion angle, and those types of things in order to have a specific light reflection, so that there are shapes of arrows when looking down from the top view, looking down right into the crown, and hearts when looking from the pavilion facing up, okay? The pavilion meaning the bottom part of the gemstone. Versus the brilliant cut of a Moissanite Forever One. The Forever One Moissanite regular brilliant cut will not have the reflection of hearts and arrows, but rather the purpose of this specific cut is to maximize silicon carbide, which basically is the chemical compound that Moissanite is made of. And what that will do is it'll maximize the sparkle. Again, it does not necessarily mean that the hearts and arrows does not sparkle. It just basically means that the hearts and arrows is cut so that you can see very specific reflections of light, hearts and arrows, from the top and bottom part of the gemstone. So if you notice that a lot of our certified stones on our site, a lot of times the hearts and arrows may have a slightly lower sparkle or different types of grading scale when it comes to the sparkle than that of the regular brilliant cut, and it's because of the fact that the hearts and arrows, because of the way it's cut, it minimizes the overall sparkle by a bit, and then the brilliant cut is definitely cut to maximize that. Here's what I want to do first. I want to go ahead and measure the two stones so you can see the differences. I'm going to measure the diameter of the hearts and arrows Moissanite first. So this is the diameter of the stone. It should be approximately an 8mm stone, right? So that's an 8.02 millimeter. And if you've seen my recent videos, there is a slight variance or a tolerance that Moissanite manufacturing companies will allow. So if it's an 8mm, they will allow up to a 8.05 to an 8.1 millimeter stone around there. Sometimes slightly less, most of the time slightly more, so with an accepted range of millimeters. Okay, and here's the depth, or the total depth or height of the stone. That's measuring from the top of the table facet all the way down to the culet or the bottom point of the pavilion. That's a 4.91 millimeter stone. So here is the regular brilliant cut. That is cut to maximize the sparkle. That also has a 8 point, or about approximately 8mm stone, but this one specifically is 8.05 millimeter stone in diameter. All right, now the actual overall depth of the stone slightly less. It's a 4.55, right? So it goes to show that the hearts and arrows have to be cut in specific proportions in order to have the hearts and arrows. All right, so there's a certain ratio from diameter to overall depth in order to get that hearts and arrows shape. So here's the 2 carat or 8 millimeter hearts and arrows stone. Okay, the total carat weight of this specific stone is 1.76 carat moissanite actual weight and a 2 carat diamond equivalent weight. All right, so in theory, again, since the total depth was higher for this stone than the regular brilliant cut, the brilliant cut should definitely weigh less. Okay, and here is the brilliant cut. And the brilliant cut weighs at 1.62 carat actual weight for the moissanite. So there you go. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys what it looks like under the scope. If you don't know what it is, it will basically find the patterns for you of each gemstone, and so it's perfect if you want to find the hearts and arrows of a hearts and arrows gemstone. So this is the shot from the crown facing up, right? So you're looking right down into the crown meaning the top section of the gemstone above the girdle. Okay, so you should be able to see the arrows. There should be 8 arrows from the top looking down. So now I'm going to go ahead and flip it. This is showing you the pavilion facing up. The pavilion meaning the bottom part of the gemstone, and if you are looking down right at it at a specific angle, theoretically you should be looking straight down into it, and the Euroscope should be able to pick that up. What you're seeing here are 8 hearts. So this is what I mean by cutting with precision. So if you take a look at the brilliant cut, and from the top looking down into the crown, it seems as if you may also be looking at arrows, it looks like an arrow, but it's definitely not as precise as what a hearts and arrows stone will look like. It's a little off-centered, a little it's not as aligned, definitely not as symmetrical. So hopefully you could definitely see the comparison. And then if I'm to flip it around, it looks like you definitely can see 8 shapes that look similar to a heart as well, but it's definitely a lot more boxy and not a complete heart shape. It looks more like a bunch of boxy V-shaped types of shapes. All right, guys, so today is actually the 10th of August, 2017, and it's about 10:30 a.m. in the morning. So what you're seeing here are the 2 same stones. They're both 8 millimeter stones, one being the regular brilliant standard cut versus the hearts and arrows cut. Although we're outdoors, this is under a shaded environment, lighting environment. Okay, so you won't see direct sunlight just yet. I'll move out in a bit, but what I want you to see here is how the lights reflect, or the stone reflects rather, from an environment without direct sunlight, so that you can have a better feel as to what it looks like in the real world. And I'm going to move it around a bit before you can see what it looks like in direct sunlight. All right, guys, so this is what it looks like in direct sunlight, and hopefully you'll be able to see the sparkle, the brilliance, the fire from these stones. Again, moissanite being having a high refractive index than that of a natural diamond, it's very sparkly. The difference between these 2 cuts is that the regular brilliant cut it's cut to maximize the silicon carbide, or what a moissanite is made of, right? So to really maximize that sparkle. Whereas the hearts and arrows shape is a precision cut, where the angles and the way the stone is faceted and cut has to be so precise in order to show patterns of arrows from the crown and hearts from the pavilion. So both will sparkle a whole bunch. It's just that the brilliant cuts rather will sparkle much more typically when comparing the 2 stones. All right. So again, it's not a knock on one or the other. It's truly a matter of preference, taste, style. What is it that you like? Some people like a lot of pop to their jewelry. Other people want it to be a little more tamed, and to have a neat feature of the hearts and arrows. That's also a huge plus as well for some. Hey guys, so I hope again that you guys like what you saw. Again, leave comments below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, especially if you've been following us for a while. And then on top of that, definitely leave us any kind of feedback that you think is necessary. We've been following the emails, IG, Snapchat, YouTube, you name it. We've been getting your feedback as to different ideas and different types of videos. So thank you for that, and I'll see you again next time.